Look at this beautiful boat. Welcome back to the Dirty Shop. My name is Jay Wilhite. Do really appreciate you guys watching my videos. Today I'm starting a full rebuild on this River Hawk canoe thing. I don't know what to call it. I mean, it's a copy of a canoe, if anybody's ever heard of one of those. Super stable, but yet still paddleable canoe. It's really sweet, makes a great little fishing boat. I'm really excited about this project. I really just like having a project that is achievable. It's just gonna have a lot of little steps. So today I'm gonna start out, I don't have all my materials yet, but I'm gonna start out with a strip down. Stick around, we'll see if we can get this out as fast as we can. But maybe I'll have some little how to do it videos of pieces of it in the middle. So there'll be a bit of a series on this video, on this boat. And I'm just really excited about doing this, and I'm glad you're here with me. All right, so I made a template to make the side pieces on this, and I cut it out of plywood because I thought I'd be able to use it on both sides, but as it turns out, this side is a bit different than that side is. I think that the problem is that this box is maybe not perfectly centered in the boat, so it's a lot tighter on this side than that side, because you can see over here, that template fits beautifully. And so I'll just save that for a template over there, and I'll just make a cardboard template for this side, and then when I make my final piece of plywood, it'll just go it'll go in. I won't bother making another template for both sides because it's kind of a pain to make that and then have to make it again. As you guys all might have realized, I'm a bit of a scrounger, and so when I find things like packing foam that I can imagine a use for it somewhere, and my wife goes nuts because I have tons of junk. But in this case, these big chunks of packing foam I have, this light foam, I'm going to try and use them to make a template for my rear and front deck. So I'm just going to line them up with where I want them to stop here on the seat. Like that. This one is stopped perfect. Just make sure it's lined up with the seat itself. I'm just going to push down on this edge, kind of. And obviously, it's not going to be perfect because the sides taper in, but it'll give me a starting point for my deck. See how it goes. I don't know if you can see it on there, but I've got a perfect impression of the edge of the canoe on there. And it's going to have to be slightly wider because it does taper in. But I'll just cut outside these lines, and then it should make a good, I don't know, good template maybe. All right, for the next part of this project, I finally got to the point where I've got some of these parts cut out enough to start assembling the rear deck. And I've got the rear bulkhead cut out. I've got the two side rails that are gonna hold the deck up. I've got the front rail that'll go across the front, and then I've got a couple of spacers. And then of course I've got the deck itself right here. And so the next step is I'm gonna go over and I'm gonna rough up my old gel coat with one of these aggressive scratchy pads. And then when we put it all together, I'm going to clean it I'll clean it up with acetone to make sure there's no oil or anything on it. And then we're going to come in and we're going to take this, I bought some of this US Composites 635 thin epoxy resin. It says low viscosity laminating epoxy resin. It's the slower version, and with the temperatures I've got out here right now, it's 85, 90 degrees here in the middle of the summer in Tennessee, and so this slower epoxy should be the right stuff. So I'm going to paint, to start out, I'm going to paint all these parts with epoxy. All right, I'm ready to start fiberglassing this, and I'm kind of nervous. This is the first fiberglass work that I've done in, I don't know, 15 years, probably. And I never was very good at it in the first place, but this time I've got some rollers. So that makes life exciting. And I've got pumps on my epoxy bottles, which I didn't have last time either. Makes life a little easier. I don't think I need the mask for this right now. And so I've got small cheap brushes, I've got my rollers, I've got a little squeegee device, scraper, and I've got some of these mixing cups. And of course I've got my epoxy. I've got a little metal bowl here so I can put some acetone in it to clean off any tools I need to. I pre-cut the one piece of glass that I use right now. It's going to go on this, like that. So I pre-cut that. And then these ones here are going to get glassed after I attach them to the boat. So all I'm going to do is paint them with epoxy right now. I got some fairing compound, which is just ground up fiberglass and some other stuff to make slightly thicker epoxy. And now we're going to glue on this first piece. All right, the glass came out really good on these. I'm really happy with that. I came back a couple times while it was drying, and when it was a little bit tacky, I pushed down any bubbles that were left over. And so all these are glassed in nicely now. And essentially, I don't even have to sand those. They're so clean. There'll be a couple spots where there's a little bit extra hairs from the fiberglass on there. I'll have to trim down. And I've got these side panels on, so we're going to take these off. Let's see how they turned out. Uh-oh. Pry that off of there. Okay. But see, this plastic, this painter's drop cloth is really handy to clamp things on. See, like this piece of wood, I should have had some drop cloth under because it's stuck on there. It's glued down. But the spot where I had the plastic, it didn't glue at all. It just smooths right off. So that's good. So those are good on there. But you can see here's the strip that I made below, and it's dry now. It's actually kind of tacked on there. But this is the piece that I had down there. You can see where there were bubbles where the plastic was raised up, but in between it's perfect. So there's this nice layer. So that's going to be right there. All right, step by step in this project, I've got this lower piece laid in here, and I've got some plastic on top I just put the epoxy on, so it should be drying nicely. And every spot that there's a bubble here, it's going to leave a little raised spot, but I'll be able to come in and sand it fairly easy because it'll just be epoxy.